we're gonna learn how to model is a Tel Aviv residential complex by Panda Group. Now first take a look at its pictures. It has two types of plan generally, or we can say it has one type of plan but it rotates. And we are looking at its pictures from different angles. To start modeling this project, I would enter this plan or this plan into the software, and I'd better choose maybe this one, or I drag that into the software. Okay, now I select it, and here from the material I increase the transparency. Okay, and then I apply scale command. For example, from this point to this point, I press shift so that the portal would be activated temporarily for me. So this part is supposed to be 30 centimeters for me, and since our unit is meter, I have to type 3/10, and I press enter, and I lock the picture, and I start drawing the lines around my work. In doing so, I can draw a line like this, and I can continue it up to here. Now I draw the last line again. Like this. Now I select the curves entirely, and then I join them all. So it could be an integral line, and now I have to draw the internal wall as well. And as you can see in the picture, we have some kind of protrusion here that sticks out, and here we have a truss and the building itself, and it is more clear in this picture. I need to make this internal wall. In doing so, here I select the curve, and then I apply offset with the help of through point from the options. I make the offset to this point. I select the curves, explode, and then I start removing curves like this. And I draw my line like this. trim command, mirror it on this side, and I apply trim command for it, and I select the curves entirely. Here I press Ctrl J to join them. What we should do now here is making the floors. I select the outside curve and I type extrude curve, or I select it from my pop-up and I extrude as much as 3/10. And then I put the display mode on shaded. I click on shade here and we see how the curve is made. Okay, now I select it, extrude again, but this time I put solid option on yes. Like the way you can see here. Or ghosted state with pressing Ctrl Alt and G so that I can see the bottom line here. I select the curve and I use gumball. I drag it up as much as 3/10 and with the help of extrude drag it up as much as 4 meters or 3 meters and 60 centimeters. And I'm done now with the first floor. The next level is to make these arcs. Make these arcs, actually, we need to make one of these arcs and then we can reproduce it. And from the line options, I select vertical line. From this part, as much as 3 meters and 60 centimeters, I drag it up. Then I can use an interpolate curve that 1 point. Okay, now I press tab to lock the direction and then I click in the middle and to the end. I now select the curve and maybe I can move the control points here. Okay, I apply move command from here, okay, to here. And maybe I remove these control points. Okay, I remove it, again move from this point to this point, tab, this point is okay. And then I make a third curve. So one curve, and one curve. Can join all my curves and then with the help of extrude command I can give it like 35 centimeters of thickness. So now I'm going to select the part that I made. I apply mirror command and I mirror it. And I think I forget something here. If you pay attention here, we have some sort of a box up here and then these walls are connected to it. Before this, I can draw a rectangle here. Okay, as an example, I draw a rectangle 35 centimeters to 35. I select it and I put the central point here and then extrude curve 3 meters and 60 centimeters. And the curve that we were talking about should be changed based on this column. Since we already drew it, we can apply scale 1D, and we'll move it from this part to here. And then extrude curve as much as 35 centimeters, and then mirror command like this. And now here I am selecting these objects. I press Alt and I drag it down, and I click on gumball -1, and then I move it and I stick it to this part like the way you see here. And now I select this part and this part. I apply copy command. Example, it must be copy from here, and I paste it here. Okay, now Alt 90 degrees, and then I move it to this point. Again, -1, then I move it here like you see. And now I can unlock the picture, and then I can hide it so that it couldn't disturb me. So I can select all these. I use copy. Okay, it should come here, and then I move it to this point. Just make sure that it is in its own place. And here I can rotate it as much as 90 degrees, and then I can move it from the center. Okay, from the center I can take it and move it here. And now I can select all of these. I apply mirror command and I mirror them. Okay, like this. And for all of these, mirror command. Okay, the way you can see here. Okay, now let's take a look at the picture. And I can drag up the second curve as much as 30 centimeters. And with the help of gumball, I can extrude it as much as 1/8. And here I use trim command to trim the work like this. After we're done with that, I select the whole object, or before that I can select these and these. I group them, and I can send them to the same layer. Okay, like the white layer, I can send them there. And after that I use the self curve command to sell my curves. I send all the curves into the blue layer, and I rename it as curve, and I turn it off. One I think is left out. It goes to the white layer. I select all the objects. The middle part would be separated, and this part should get purple. In some cases, maybe we have a group of objects and we wanted to add up some more to them. We can actually use this option, add to the group, and then I select the objects that I want them to be added to the group, and then it asks about the group. I introduce it, and now they are all in the same group. Okay, I select them all with the help of gumball. I hold Alt, and as much as 30 meters and 90 centimeters, I brought it up. Each floor was 3 meters and 60 centimeters long, and 30 centimeters for the thickness of the floor. And I enter 90 degrees here as well, like this. I press Ctrl H Shift. I add the floor to my work, and this part should go up 3 meters and 90 centimeters, like the way you see. Now I'm going to select the whole object and the array linear command, and okay, let me see, 10 is good, and from here you gotta go up, and its exact measure could be 3 meters and 90 centimeters times 2. Okay, our copy is done, and I can go to the material part and give it a transparent blue sort of thing to it, and from here I select the object and I assign my material to the object. Okay, like this. And there is a gap here because we consider the distance 3 meters and 60 centimeters, while we had 30 centimeters for the thickness of the floor. So if you want to model, you have to consider the first column 3 meters and 90 centimeters. Okay, now we can here do more. Like I activated care from here, and I bring it up as much as 80 centimeters, and I give it a 2 centimeters pipe. We can also have some bars or maybe some frames here. And in upcoming lessons, we are going to learn how to add these sort of details, and it was just a practice for model making commands like extrude a surface and array linear or rotate, and with the help of those commands we have been able to model such a tower. Don't forget to practice. Thanks for watching this episode, and take care and goodbye.
In this part, we're going to model Metropole Paracel project. Let's check out its pictures together, and then we're going to start our work in Rhino. I'm gonna use this plan as my work's boundaries. Therefore, we drag it into Rhino and then place it just like this for myself. Now that we have the plan in here, we put it in another layer, change the name of that layer, and from properties, material, increase the transparency of my photo or picture, and lock the layer. Here, with the help of interpolate curve, we start drawing the surroundings of our work. We don't get obsessed over these drawings for now, because later in the end, with editing the control points, we would have a precise and detailed outcome. Just like this, as you can see, I'll continue drawing the lines around the work. And then we select them and move them a bit. Alright, I believe this is a little trick. After that, we mark the position or the spots that we want to have our columns. For example, in a place like this, and here, and this spot, and also this one. I'm doing this generally, I'm not going through details. My only aim here is our procedure here. And there's something I always do, that the line that I draw, I always, with the rebuild, with the same control points, I rebuild them. Just to tidy them up. Needless to say, this isn't necessarily. And we also draw some circles here. And also with copy, we make some copy of this circle in the position of other columns. And we also need to scale some parts as well. For example, this one, we make it larger. And this one. And also this, make them larger. Alright, select the circles that we just drawn and group them. Select all of them with Control and selecting the circles and the outer lines. All of them are selected and then group them. Turn off the pictures layer and drag our main line to a certain altitude. And with the use of planar surface, we change it into a layer or shell. After that, with the rebuild option, we change its control point to 30 to 30 and the degree of U and V on 3. The reason of why I increased the number of control points is that I could make out these curves in my project. After that, with soft edit surface, for example 6 to 6, we uneven the surface like this. For example, this part goes down a little. So we can do this without breaking a sweat. Alright, so just like this, we could change the curve of our layer. Alright, generally speaking, I believe this is sufficient for now. Alright. After that, we hide the surrounding lines. We go to Top, View, select these, and then select Trim. Now, delete or erase inside of these spots with Trim. That's what we have. After that, with Extrude Curve command, solid no, both sides no, and here we give some height to the circles of our work. Maybe the circle here should have come higher. So Control Shift and bring it higher. Now with blend surface here and here. Alright, now check the gaps together. Okay, something like this may happen. No problem at all, don't fret. And then we adjust the surface blend just like this. Now these may come a little bit higher. That'll be better for us. Select all of them and bring them higher. Now select blend surface, this one and this. Just like this. This one goes a little bit down. If you pay attention, I'm doing most of the work here with my bare eyes. I mean, I didn't have the height of these circles or the curve or the blends of these surfaces here. Because we didn't have any pre-info, we could just continue like this. Our only goal here is to learn the process of modeling of this project. Because we don't always need to model the project that has been created before. You know what I mean? We're just learning the modeling of this project so we could learn and then apply it in our own new projects. Just be careful that in blend surface command, something like this shouldn't happen. The direction of arrows should be the same. Alright, just like this, and the last one. That's how we create the last column. Now, after that, with cell surface command, select all the surfaces or plates, Control J, and with the help of offset surface, create a surface. For example, 4/10th and solid no, create a surface to the inside. Okay, just like this. After that, we could hide the external surfaces for a moment and turn on these surfaces control points. Give me a moment. Okay, turn on its control points, and this time with soft move command, select them and change the spot that we want. For example, here comes a bit higher. So, in a nutshell, we turned on the control points, selected them, and then executed soft move command. We could even rebuild it so we could have increased the number of control points. And we'd like to move our control points in this radius and area to this point. Now enter and finish this part. You could make all of these changes, and after that select cell surface, Control J, and Control Alt H. So we would have our previous surfaces unhidden. After that, with the use of blend surface command, we connect these two edges together. Just like this. And then in the end, join them all together. Then, with cell curve command, we select all the lines and put them in the layer number 4. Change the layer's name and turn it off. The only things left to do is to close our bottom's work. To do so, we could select them, execute cap command to have these parts filled like this. I select the project, and through properties, we turn off show surface button, and then with contour command, we say from this point, we want 45 degree with right here less than 45, smaller than 45, and to the scale of 3/10th, which we could have even chose a bigger one. Now, Control G, and here again, contour, smaller than 135 degree, and again 3 to 10th. We'll wait for it to process. Alright, without unselecting it, again Ctrl J, select our main surface, put it in another layer, and turn it off. And then here, extrude curve, select direction, and say to this direction, to the scale of 1 to 10th, and solid yes. Extrude curve, put the direction in this direction to the scale of 1 to 10th. We have created a project like this. Now the scale of our project may be a bit large. I'm gonna have to extrude them again, but this time to a minimal scale. We just need to mind the direction of our extruding. Alright, so this time we extrude them to the scale of 500th. And this one as well. Change its direction to the scale of 500th. So we would have blank spaces more around here. If you think that your project has become smaller, I select cell curve, transfer all the lines to this part. And if you think that you need your project to be bigger than this here, you could bring your real object and then test it on the scale of instead of 3 to 10, 4, 6, or 7 to 10th. But for now, I believe that our project is fine with this scale and these measures. And we'll finish the job to this point. Therefore, we could put the things we've done so far into some simple commands. We created the works plan, then we changed it into a layer. We could have changed the layer with playing with the control points to the up and down, or other commands like soft edit surface and soft move. And then with trim, we carved the place of columns. And then with the help of blend surface, we connected the columns. And in the end, contour and extrude. I hope that it was informative for you. We're waiting for your examples in the group. Until the next time, Godspeed. This time, we're going to model Benetton building. Very well. Now, to proceed, let's first look at the pictures of this building. As you well know, the most important thing that we need to pay attention to is our main lines in the modeling. Meaning that, first of all, we need to have a clear mindset of the modeling we're going to do based on the pictures we're looking at. And only after that we start creating the parts we need. Now, for starters, I create a box in a Rhino, just like this, from 0, 0. For example, let's say its length would be 40 and its width 30. And the altitude or the height of our building, 22 may be sufficient. So we have created a box like this here. As you can see in the picture, I need one rectangular on one side of our project and another one on the other side. To do so, to create those rectangulars, we select rectangular, of course, and 3-point mode, the first point, and the second point's length would be 20, half of our length, and the altitude of our work would be 7 height. Just like this. Again, 3-point, and we'd say from here about 10 and 15. Alright, now we need to erase redundant parts of our project. We could hold Ctrl and Shift together and select the surfaces and erase the ones that we don't need anymore. Just like this, as you can see. Let's look at the picture. From this corner to this should be connected. I select our two rectangulars and explode them. Then execute loft command, and from this line to this line. This line in here and this one. After that, we need to connect this one to the other one over here. To do so, we're going to have to use split edge command. Alright, and split our corner just like this. And then with loft, only select the top line. Here, we also need another split edge as well. Again, split edge command, and from here to here, we also need its middle as well. We do the command again, so we could select the middle as well. Alright, now we use line command. Draw a line from this corner connects to the other side. Then again from the midpoint of this line in vertical position, right about here. Let's check it out in the right view. And again we connect a line from here to here. Okay, after that, let's check the pictures again. A picture with this view. Okay, this will need two lines. Again, loft command. We say this surface with this surface. As you can see, it is connected in reverse. So we click Align Curve to make it like this. Again, loft, and select these two parts. And in the end, we should cover those open areas. We could do this by using the command surface point and cover these open areas. Let's do it again. It was a misclick. Okay, the first one and the next. And the third layer. Just like that. Then select Cell Curve command. Select all the lines and put them in another layer and turn it off. Then select all of it, go to Properties and turn off IsoCurve button. So far, our layer is created like this. Okay, and after that, to create these strip or tape things, we must create some lines on the layer or shell. Very easily, I'll do one of them for you just as an example, and then you will be able to do the rest of them based on the things that I will teach you. We're going to have to need some grouping or classifications, which I will show to you on this surface. Now select this layer and isolate it, and place some points on the edge of this as a guide. Alright, just like this, we use this command to do our grouping. This edge may be about 30, and this one about 20. We divide it. And then, just like that, we just draw some lines on these points. Just connect them to each other. Piece of cake. For example, this one have a little bit of distance. Okay, with a bit of attention, you could make it look like the real thing. But this is just a teaching course, which means that our main object here is to teach you how to do the modeling, and it doesn't have to be really completely similar to the real thing. Something like this would do just fine. Cell PT command and select the points, and then delete all the dots or points. Then execute cell curve command, project, and on this surface our direction would be view. Okay, cell last command, Control G, invert and delete. Now select the surface, split, and select these lines. Now what's left to do is selecting these parts so we could change their material. Select them, and in material section we consider material the black one for it. Assign. After that, all of them the command offset surface towards outside in the scale of 1 to 10th. Now Control Alt H and unhidden other parts, and this is the outcome of our work so far. These parts that may look like they're fractured, we could fix them in the program setting, mesh in document properties, and just like that we fix them. And here, even though the density of our mesh is highly increased, but it is viewed just like this, we could select it, and with the rebuild command change the number of its control points. Just like this. We can follow the same method for the other parts of the project as well. These two parts could have the same material as well. I give the material to here and here. And we also have some floors here as well, which you could create their lines with Control command, and then with extrude create your favorable floors. As you can see, here we have glass strips or tapes which you could easily, with the same method that we just told you, create them for the rest of the project. You could also see the offset surface that we executed in our project. We'll be looking forward to seeing your works with more meticulousness and perfection, of course. Complete the rest of the building just as we did here. Until next time, Godspeed.
This episode we are going to how to model this church. Let's first look at its pictures, plans and facades. You can see our work is composed of curved sections. We can draw these sections first and then create the surface with the help of them. Here I'm going to teach two methods to model this, and you're going to learn it both. And you can choose between these two methods for your projects. The first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to drag the plan into Rhino software. And now from the image option, I select picture and then I click on OK. And this is how I enter the picture into Rhino software. Then if you wanted to actually scale your work, you can draw a line here using scale command and you can type 8 meters. Then I use a rectangle that I draw like this. I trim my picture. And now it's time to select the picture. Then I go to the material parts and then I increase the transparency of the picture and then I lock the picture. I bring the picture to the coordinate origin and then I press Ctrl L to lock it. In the first method that we're going to use, we're going to use these sections, we draw them, and then we can use a network surface command to change these sections into surfaces. And in doing so, I drag this picture into Rhino on perspective viewport. I activate vertical option and I put it here. And later I'm going to scale it. I also drag this section to Rhino, picture, vertical, and like this. After that, we can select them, lock them, and shift to the front view. Okay, and then we can start drawing. Okay, first of all, I am going to draw a line up to this point, and then I use the midpoint of the line to find the midpoint of the picture. And again, I use the midpoint of another line, okay, to find the midpoint of this part. Okay, now it's enough to draw this part, and then I can mirror it on the other side. Now here I use interpolate curve to draw the curves. And now I use mirror. And now I'm going to increase the transparency of this picture so that I can see the curves. And then I use Ctrl L to lock the picture again. See that from where we mirror, we can use match. I can match here. Okay, again this is state, mirror, and again match command. So we have created one of these sections easily. And we can select the control points of these two lines and drag them up so we can use them for this picture as well. And here again I start drawing the curves. as you can see. And here, if you think that you need to edit, you can change the control points, and then you can mirror it on the other side. And again, I have to match these parts, mirror, okay, and again, match. So we have created our vertical sections, and in this part we are going to draw the horizontal sections. Here I'm going to draw a rectangle, and then I draw a line from one of its sides midpoints. I draw it up. This is how I made the symmetric line. And here again in this part I increase the transparency of the picture, and then I lock it. Then I use an interpolate to draw the half of my work, just like the way you see here. And then if there is any need for editing control points, we do that, and then we mirror them, and again we use match. Okay, and now we use another interpolate to draw the section of the upper picture. Okay, I'm drawing this section, as you see. You don't need to be obsessed with the accuracy of drawings, and you can draw first and then you can edit it with moving control points. Okay, and here I drag it up, and I take this up so that it can overlap the picture. Okay, I think it's enough up to here. So I select it, I mirror it, and I used match. Okay, and up to now we have created our cross sections. Okay, now I need to make some divisions on the plan, and in order to make these divisions I shift to the top view. I use here a rectangle from this corner to this point. Then I select the picture, and then I use Control L to lock it. And after that I select the rectangle, I explode it, and then I use divide command to make divisions on it, so that it would create some points as guidelines. Then I draw a line using that point, and then I make a copy from it. And I also select this line and I divide it as much as 3 divisions. And again, I start drawing some guidelines. These guidelines are the places that we have to put our sections on them. Now let's have a look at the picture. This is our first section that its curves are from top and corners. Exactly this section, I use copy command to transfer it from its quad position to here. And we should have this on the other side. We also need to draw a line as the symmetric line of the drawings. I also select this section and I transfer it from its quad position to this point, like the way you see. Now we need to change the section measures into plan measures. Here I select the 2 sections. I use move command while project is on. I send it from the beginning to the beginning of the plan. And I put this on the beginning of the plan as well. And now here I can select the 3 of them. Now I use the scale command. I change the section measures into my plan measures. Now I need to change the height of the sections. As you can see, the top points of these sections are the same. So here I put the move on vertical, and then I turn off the project from this point to here. Okay, now my sections are on its right places based on Y, Z, and X directions. I bring two other sections. I rotate them 90 degrees, and I put these sections in my work. Look at the picture. As you can see, we have a section here. I copy the top section. I use copy to send it to the middle of the plan. Later, I need to fix its place. And the next section, I have to take it from the middle. Okay, with quad snap, I put it here. And now I have to deal with height. I dragged it down, and now I hide all these curves. And after that, I press Ctrl Alt L. I unlock them so I can hide them because I don't need them now. So now it's time to go for our horizontal sections. So first I select this section. Okay, I select this section and then I move it. Of course, I need to turn off the project and it should be right here. Now it's time to scale the section from here to this point and here. And maybe the middle section, which is not on a point, I take the control point and do this. And I do the same to the next section. I use move to put it here, and then again I apply scale as much as the length of quad. We see that the upper parts is not overlapped, which is not important for now. Now here I'm going to make some copies from these sections. And then I continue my work with these sections. And I use copy with end snap to this part. Need one more at the end. I copy it here. I select the last curve and I remove it. Okay, everything is okay. Now I can make a copy and then I can put it here. And it's time to use network surface to change it into a surface. I put it on shade so that I can see the surface. I select the surface and here I can use gumball to change the curvatures. I think it's better. Now let's draw a rectangle as a plan. I turn on a project so that it could be on the ground. I use the corners as a snap and I use a scale. And with the help of extrude to boundary, I made the surface of the work. And here when we look at the picture, we see that the plan is more inside. And actually the roof is larger. So here I press Ctrl Z and then I scale it on X direction and scale on Y direction. Now I select it again and I scale it on Y direction. And then I scale it on the X as well. I think that's enough. Let's look at it on the plan. Yes, it is good. And then I apply extrude curve again. I apply option to boundary. I connect it to the beneath of the roof. I select them all and I send it to a layer so that we can turn on or turn off the layer easily. Okay, like the way you see. So we have seen the first method that we could do this, and I use the gumball extrude to give it some sort of thickness. And here I'm done with this one. You can use this method or you can use the method that we're gonna teach you now. In the next method, we start from the 1/4 of the job that we dried with a plane. I rebuild the plane at degree 3 and more control points maybe. And then I drag it up to the point that my section would tell me. Okay, this section can help me with that. Okay, I turned the sections and I consider some points as guiding points for myself. I turn off project. Okay, the upper part of my work and the middle part. Okay, I draw some points like this for myself. Okay, 2 points, 3 points, and I don't need this point, I can remove it. I use move command, vertical state is move. The main surface is in the middle. And this point, to use the soft move, I need to create some points here for myself. The points that I wanted to go up here and the other side. Okay, and here in another picture, we are going to start modeling this 1/4. Okay, and then we can mirror it to have the other parts. We need here some points that I'm going to show you with red color. These points on the top and the points here and there. So now I will go back to Rhino to draw these points for myself. Okay, this point should go up. This point also should go up, and that middle part should go up. I select the 3 points. Let me shift it to the other view. Okay, I use gumball to make a very short distance. The reason that I made those distances was that I wanted to select them easily in soft mode command. Now I need to select the surface. I press F10 to create the control points of the work. I can select them all, and then I can apply soft move, and from the options I can select points, then select 3 points that we had here before. Okay, I press enter to give it a radius. I shift to the top view and I consider this approximate measure for it. Okay, and how much it should go up to the point that we consider. And here we can move the points to change the curvature of the shapes. Okay, up to this point, I think that's okay, and we can press enter. In this state, I'm in the state that all points are selected. I use points, and I select 2 other points. A point here, and I press control, another point on the other side, and I also control points, and I put it with a snap of this point, so that it could be made on the same scale. Now I apply a soft mode command and points from the options, and then I select the points that we made, and okay. And again, I need to determine the radius, for example, to this point, and the height could be down to the bottom part of my work. That I consider as a guideline. As I told you before, we can change using this point, and finally we have this. And here I can apply mirror using that guideline, and here I can use match surface to match these surfaces like this, but I don't need to do that because our surfaces are symmetrically built and there's no change, as we see. I select these 2 and then I use mirror to reproduce it symmetrically. I select them all and I use gumball scale to change the curves. I draw the plan of the work again, and then I use a scale to make it a bit smaller. And finally, we can use extrude to boundary to make the walls beneath our work. And at the end, I use gumball to extrude the surface. Okay. So we have modeled this project using two methods. You can use what ways or methods that you think it's better for you. And again, don't forget to practice modeling. And for this episode, thank you for watching and take care and goodbye. In this episode, we are going to model the Al Bahar Tower. Before everything, let's first take a look at its pictures. Okay, now our plan. As it is clear on the plan, we have to model two parts. One part is the main surface of the building, and in the next level, we have another surface with some mobile panels that are on the surface. And also in these pictures, we can see the panels, the diagrams that shows the opening and closing of the panels. And of course here you should take into consideration that we are going to make these panels in a simple way without paying attention to any climatic parameters. I mean that we are only modeling three types of panels: a closed panel, and a semi-closed panel, and an open panel. I mean, we put the closed panel in some part of the project, the semi-closed panel in some other parts, and we put the open panel in another part. The more principled or accurate method is that after that we design these panels in Grasshopper, we should use EPW file that include climatic information in order to make them move. Like we say, our inside design needs this amount of light. This panel can regulate this amount of light with opening and closing. Now let's take a look at some other pictures. We're gonna make such panels in the second level, and maybe we can do it with less detail. And it's a good idea to go to the SnatchMap website. I opened a website before. I already searched the project that we wanted to make. And when you open up the website, you would face such a landing page, and you can use the search part, and you can write Al Bahar Tower, and gives you the 3D model of the project, and you can use this 3D model to make your job easier and easier, because it gives you a better perception of the project. As we already said, we have a surface, some frames, and a main hexagon structure that looks like a honeycomb. And we know that we can create it with pipe command. And finally, the panels that are closed in some areas and semi-closed in some part and open in some other parts. So to model this, I open up the Rhino, and I go to the pictures part, and next I drag the picture to the Rhino. And it's a better idea to put this picture on 0 and 0 approximately. And next I can go to the object transparency and increase it a bit. And then I can use the lock command or shortcuts like Control L or the icon here, I can lock my picture under my work. And then I use the interpolate curve to draw two curves. But before everything, I'm going to create the center of my picture. And here again, I'm going to draw a 3 points circle. Okay, like this. And it's more accurate that I put my picture from the center of this circle on 0 and 0. And then I gotta lock it. And then I use the coordinate origin to draw a curve here. And I consider it as the center of my work. We actually did this because we wanted to cut it into half, and after drawing the first half, we can use the mirror command to have the reflection of the work. I mean, our work should be completely symmetrically. And now here I use the interpolate curve to draw the curve. Okay, of course you know that here I don't care that much about the accuracy of the work, because after I'm done with drawing, I can select the control points and do whatever I want on the curve. I mean, I can make the changes later. And next I'm going to apply the mirror command, and I can create the symmetry of my work. And then I use match command. I use this command to make these two curves here both aligned, and curve using the average option. So I don't have any actually fracture here. And again in this part, okay, average. But here I check the joint and I press OK. Now we have a integral symmetric curve here. And now I do the same job to the next surface, like this. And now here we'd better to move our control point a little. And then we use the mirror command, symmetry, match, and join. Now I drew the second surface of the work. Now to draw the vertical section, we need such a picture. And I drag the picture option, okay. And then I switch it to the front view. Okay. I put this here. It's better to use the trim command here. And I removed the extra image. And now here we put our work exactly on this part, from the second surface to the second surface. And I use project discipline command in order to have it just exactly on my coordinate axis. Okay, just the way you can see here. And then I select scale command, and from this part where the curve and picture met, and here I hold shift to draw my reference line, okay, to this part. Okay, now we can take a look at the general aspect of our work. Object and transparency, and then lock. And now we can shift it to the front view, and we can start drawing our curves. The outside surface and the inside surface. And for the inner surface, we have consider this distance, and I do this approximately. And finally, on this part, if we pay attention to this curve, it starts from, that's okay, there's no problem with it. Then I use the project discipline command. I put it on the picture here. And now the curves that we have here. Now let me first rebuild this curve with 8 control points. And then here I use mirror and 0 center. I draw the symmetry. Now it's time to draw the circle. This circle could be created with 2-point circle, and then I can use a rotate 3D tool. From the center of the circle, I hold shift to this direction. Okay, it can rotate like up to here. And maybe it could be smaller in this direction. And then I use sweep to rail command. I select my first rail and the second rail, first cross section and the second cross section, and then I have the surface of my work. Now here we select close sweep, so we have the circle. The point that we should take care about is that the floors here are flat. In the next level, if we want to use these iso curves as the floors, we have to use the add a slash here to make these floors flat. But since we are going to use the contour command, we'll leave this part and we press OK. And the next level, the curves around the building gotta be extrude the same size as the curve here. Now let's take another look. The surface is created up to here. We have a part here. Now here I hold Alt, and if we copy a curve here, this upper part would be created. Okay, now we don't need the pictures anymore. So I press on this icon to unlock the picture. I don't want to remove the pictures, and I just send them to a layer, and I renamed it as like picture reference, and then I turn it off. If we look carefully, the surface should have the curvature. I could have done it with other commands, and now I use the cage edits and the bounding box. I'm going to make this change, as you can see here. It completely overlaps the curve. We don't need this anymore. We apply self-care command so that all curves would be selected, and then we send them to the layer named curve. Then we can turn it off. The outside surface, I named it surface 2, and then inside surface. Okay, now here let's take a look at the ISO curves of the work. And now here I'm going to use the rebuild, and here maybe I should reduce the ISO curves on U direction, or maybe I let it remain. On U direction, I enter number 46 for ISO curves. Oh, it's a lot of ISO curves. I change it to 34. Okay, now I use the extract ISO curves command. Here we don't want this direction. I activate toggle and extract all. I can create all these curves, and actually I send them to another layer under the name. Okay, I name it curve 2, and then I apply contour command and I say my surface. I click here, I hold control. I could have done that into this view, like 2 units. If you think that it's not fit, or maybe if it's larger it would be better, you can change it. I can apply contour again, 4 meters by 4 meters, or maybe more, like 6 meters. Now here we apply the cell last object that we've created, and then I send them to the curve 2 layer, and then I turn it off, and then I select the surface, and then I deactivate show ISO curve. Okay, now here we have some curves, the lines that here play the role of window frames, and of course if you pay attention here, it starts straightly from somewhere. I switch it to this view, and I select this surface and split, but before that let me draw it again. Surface and split, and this is our line. Now we select all these curves, and this part of the curve has to be trimmed. Okay, I turn on the filter, and then I deactivate surface down here. And now, as you can see, all these curves are removed. This upper part of my work, and the curves that we have here, we select them all. We apply the pipe command here, as much as 10 centimeters. And finally, these fences. Okay, now here to continue my work, I'm going to model the fences that we saw here. So now let's take a look at the model in this website. Now here, if I take a look at this, I can see a grid. Maybe I postponed this grid, and it is a simple grid. As you can see, you can easily create UV surface, and then we can draw the squares and rectangles here and transmit it with apply curve command. But the first thing here is modeling these fences up here. So now as the first step, I use extrude curves, and here I see that the direction of the extrude is toward up, I mean on the direction. I select direction, I click somewhere, I hold control and I click toward the top. My direction is correct and I can turn off the solid. And the next thing that we can do here is drawing these vertical curves. I apply extract iso curves again. I want the vertical direction. I use toggle, so we have it like this, and then I activate extract all, and again I do the same to this layer. Now I can remove all these lines. Select these two for now, and then I press Ctrl H to hide them. Now what we need to do is to select these curves. So I do this, and I group it with Ctrl G, and then I apply pipe command with radius 5 centimeter or maybe 50 centimeters. I need the curve of this edge and this top edge. I can hold Ctrl Alt H and I can return these. And here I can use the isolate command, and then I apply the dot edge command, this part and this part. Okay, now I don't need the surface anymore, so I remove it and I select my curves and then I join them, and then I use the pipe command with more radius, like the way you can see here. Here in this level, and let's review some of the pictures now. We need to make these modules on the ground in 3 situations. Now I go to the layers and I turn this layer on. The second surface is the surface that we should put those modules on it. Now here I'm going to consider a point as the center of my drawings. Now here I use a polygon and I put the num side on 8 so that I can draw a triangle. I hold shift, I'm gonna draw it vertically, in a way that one of its sides could be parallel to one of the facades. Now here we have a triangle where we have to draw some lines in the middle of its sides or its vertices. In doing so here, I have to use a curve. Okay, like I'm gonna draw a curve to the vertex and another line to the side, and then I select them both and array polar command. And then I can explode the triangle and then I split it. With the help of these 3 curves that meet the sides. And I shifted the perspective and I zoom extend. Now I activate its control points. I can drag them up and I can scale these as well. So I have created different types of panels that could be put on the surface. And then I use the edge surface. I change the 3 lines into a surface, and we can do it easily to other parts, like the way you can see here. And finally, the last part. Then I can apply cell curve. I wrote it there. I can select my curve and put them in curve layers so that I can't see them now. Now here I'm going to select the surfaces that I have here, and I activate its control points, and I select the control points of these edges, and then I scale it. And scaling it looks like opening and closing the panel. Is that right? And we're gonna talk about the more accurate way to do this. Now I'm going to make a copy out of this here, and here in this state I'm going to scale it. Yeah, I'm gonna scale this part, and then I'm gonna bring down here a bit, and okay, I make a copy, and finally a bit upper, and again the edges need to be scaled a bit here. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to show you a file which was modeled based on the accurate angle. And what am I doing here now has an educational aspect, and I just wanted to show you. I mean, there is a problem with what am I doing here. The problem is that while scaling, I'm changing the dimensions of my work. If I exaggerate the scaling here, just to show you, you notice that the dimensions of these parts are changing. And you should know that we should not have any changes within the dimensions. I mean, if you close this part, the upper parts should move down or move up. I mean, the dimensions are fixed, and we just wanted a demonstration, and we create that. And currently it's not important for us that the dimensions are changing. And then again, I use the creative curve in order to create the extension of it. And what I need to do here is to draw a rectangle. I shift to the top view, I turn on the project, and with the help of edge from here, okay, from here to here, and edge again from here to here, and the last one, sorry, activate edge and here. And the new triangles would play the role of a bounding box. Okay, now here I'm gonna change the color, and I send it to the curve tool. And now here I'm going to activate cell PT, and then I hide those points because I don't need them anymore. So I have this surface here, and I'm going to send every one of these items to that surface. And you also can add up some details like the frames that we have around it, and that frame surrounded a different material. And as you might see in its real picture, it has such a shape. In doing so, we can easily draw a triangle on it. Then we can scale the triangle, and then we can split it. But here, I'm going to leave these details to you, and I just want you to pay attention to these details while you're practicing, and I want you and I expect you to add up these details to your work. So now to proceed with our education, I take one of these triangles, I make a copy, I send it here. Let's first take a look at the work here. As you can see here, there are some hexagons together. Now, if we wanted to figure out the pattern of our work, we can use the array command, center, and make it in a full circle. And then we can continue it here. And this should come here, and this reproduction should keep going. Okay, in this way I can copy them like this. Another thing that we can do here, and I can make a copy from it, and now here I can use the array rectangular, and I don't know the number, so I give it 30. Okay, on X direction, I put it on 16, and 30 is good for Y. Activate cell last. I select the last objects that I've created. Okay, I select them, Control G, and now I activate the scale. Remember that I don't use the scale 1D here. Like this. Yes, up to here. If we need some here, we can copy some. I ungroup them, and I would copy some parts later. I brought this to here because I wanted to have a certain number. Now here I can select the module that I have here, okay, like this, and then I can use the orient command. I apply the orient command, I select scale, 3D, and I turn on the copy, and it's supposed to move from this point to this point up to here. Okay, I select this wrongly, that is not important, and okay, I move this here as well, and I remove this and this, or maybe I couldn't have done this. I'm going to remove it. Now I change my mind and I remove it. I select this and array polar command. From the 0 center, 6 in full circle. And the last object that I've made, and the first object, and Control G to group them, and I make a copy from it, and then here we can use array. Okay, we need maybe 5 or 30 or maybe more. Okay, and we do the reproduction like this. And now to this part I put it on 34. We did that because we wanted to use from this actually semi-closed module in the middle of the project. And here I press Ctrl G, orient command, and scale 3D, copy first and second point. We remember that the project is on, so we do not snap it wrongly. And then I transfer first point and second point, and array polar from this part 6 divisions in full circle, and the cell last command, first object. I did that with holding the shift, and here we make a copy, and again we gotta use, let me select them all, and now here we use the array command, and this time maybe 4 and 34. Okay, the reproduction is done, like the way you can see here. Now with using the cell last, after we confirm the whole thing, we can select them, and we select as well the first object, and we press Ctrl G. Maybe we wanted to send it to another different layer, and finally I use the orient command again for this module. Okay, orient my points from here, first point and second point. That's okay. Array polar from this part, and first I select it, Ctrl G, and then array polar, 6 divisions in full circle again, and it seems that I haven't selected one of these. That's okay. So I apply array polar, 6 division in full circle. And then again I select the whole and I press Ctrl G, and then I make a copy from it. The exact process that we did for the last things, and select and array itself. Okay, we can change the numbers later. It can be 7 instead of 6 here. And finally, it's a good idea to make the whole as a group. Wait until the array is done. Okay, and now cell last command. And here I hold shift to select the first and second items, and Ctrl G. Now we are going to select the curves under our work. I press Ctrl and I deselect the line around my work, and I press Ctrl H to hide it. Now here I want to select the first things that we created before. I draw a window, and now I press Ctrl G. Now I use the planar surface to create the background of my work, and now here I'm going to select the 3 groups that I have here. The first group, I press Shift, the second group, and the third group. And here I must save my work, because we wanted to use the follow along surface command, and this command is so heavy and it might disturb everything. So I save my work first, and then I apply the command. Say from this corner, I select right this corner toward, for example, this corner. I hope that I wouldn't click anywhere mistakenly, and I wait until the following operation would be done. After a while, it would create us such a thing. Okay. And here, the last thing that we should do here is creating this network of hexagons that is on the surface. I just want to have a number of these grid, and apparently there are 5. In order to be able to actually create this grid, I select the things on the ground, I mean the modules that we created before. And I'll send them to another layer and then I'll hide them. And then I select the surface that I have here. Then I select the surface so that we could see the project better, and we reduce its heaviness. And with the help of create UV curve, I'm gonna create this, and you can see the upper part. Yeah, we have the upper part. Okay, and next I can shift to the top view and I can draw a hexagon using the edge. NURBS side could be 6, like this. I create a number of them. First a copy, and then array, and 4 and 10. Okay. Now the number that we have here, there are 5 in the height. So here I change it to the 5. One more. And then I activate Cell Last. These two scale, and maybe even scale 1D from here up to here. And again, you can do it here. The next point is that it should have a distance from the surface. So I consider a distance here, the way you see here. I can now pipe it and then project on the surface. But I don't do that because making pipes is necessarily a lighter action comparing to following an object. Now I'm going to select them, follow along surface. From here, beside the joint, and we select the objects we made, and then pipe command for 8/10. We wait until the pipe is created. Okay, now maybe there are some problems. Now I'm going to explode. Now here I apply cell dop and I select the extra curves and then pipe command, as you can see here. Now cell CRV command. Remove, selection, and Ctrl G. I press Ctrl Alt H to return everything that we had. And I don't want these, so I hide them. And we have the general form of our project. And now here you can see the number that I gave it to it is a bit high. I hold Ctrl Z. And 2/10 for the pipe maybe suffice us. Cell curve, delete, selection, and then Ctrl G. Now I press Ctrl Shift H, and we determine which objects should get out of the hidden situation. Okay, we made this project, and at the end we can go to the material part and select the custom state, and here maybe some blue color wouldn't be a bad idea, more transparency. I dedicate this color to the glass of my project. And at the end, I use surface edge from display part. I don't want to see the edges in render mode, and it gives me such a form, and you can see it. There's no difference. And here, to create more contrast, we give a material to this surface again, and maybe some sort of a color, a simple color like this, and I right click on it and assign to the object. So it could be more clear like this. Now you are able with the use of the pictures that you have from the project, you're able to take care of the details of your project. For example, you could pay attention to these objects, two circles in your first module. You could loft here, extrude it, and you could draw it and then use the array polar. Again, a curve, pipe, and keep going. And here, the more you care about the details, the more professional it would become. I told before that you can consider two types of materials. Now, don't forget to keep practicing and keep adding more details to your project. What we did here was just for the education, and here we just teach the main and core principles of the work, and you need to use your creativity to develop the principles and the knowledge that you have gained through these video clips. So it's up to you to add up more details to your project to make it more professional. And finally, thanks for watching and take care.